in the last 3 months, I have come to the end of myself, and I'm still learning how to be anchored in wilderness seasons. And especially when I was writing the book, Anchored in the Wilderness, I was like, Lord, I've been through this. I'm writing the book. Why am I going through it again? He said, glory to glory, Leslie. You have to learn a deeper level of surrender than you've ever learned.
Do you want to build unshakable confidence and authentic authority without operating at a constant level 10 intensity that exhausts your impact? Hey, I'm Dr. Leslie Davis, vocal leadership and communication coach. I discovered a strategy to help you develop a voice that builds trust and radiates authority without being a jerk. If you're a Christian business owner ready to learn how to build trust and authority with your voice, grab your hot toddy and a journal and let's make the shift.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about a miracle in my life. And if you've read my book, Anchored in the Wilderness, then you would have read a little bit about what I call the flashlight season. And the flashlight season is one step at a time, just enough light provided so that you can see the next step. And we have just gone through a really long and really intense flashlight season again. And, I talk a lot about the cyclical nature of just life, going from glory to glory. And to go from glory to glory, you've got to be called out of Egypt again. You've got to go through the wilderness again. You've got to be in those flashlight seasons because it's about learning how to follow in obedience what God is asking us to do at all times. And so if we are really going to go from glory to glory to glory to glory, we really got to learn how to follow His voice like that. And it's so intense. Y'all, I am beyond excited to share what I'm sharing tonight. And if you're watching the video, you'll see I'm in an empty room. And I'm going to tell you about that because this is not my normal studio. It is the future studio, though, because a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. And to give you a little bit of backstory, we spent a long, intense season in the motorhome. And we lived in that motorhome, our family of 5, for a year. And towards the end of that, we started just learning a new level of surrender, whether we found our forever home or not, or even a house or whatever it was that we were looking for that we thought we wanted. Well, and at the end of that, we did find our house. And so that has been an amazing house. It has been an amazing place to live for the last 2 years. And I taught high school, not this past year, but the year before. And then I was released from that high school teaching position. And so for a whole year, I have been kind of in transition. So as I've been walking through this past year and learning another layer of what I'm called for. What am I called to do? The things that I'm walking through. And that's where the mind shift, leadership and learning came out of that season. And this whole concept of radiating your authority is something that the Lord has really been building in me for the last year. So lots has happened in the last little bit with Authentic Voice Leadership, with Authentic Voice, the coaching program, the Authentic Authority Lab, all of the things that I have been over here working hard on, doing my best to follow in obedience to the Lord step by step by step by step. And Mind Shift Leadership and Learning is like the umbrella of what I've been working on for the last year. And it's a compilation of all of my skills and things like that over however many years of business and podcasting and teaching and aromatherapy and all the things that I have done, worship leading and songwriting and, all the things. It's a lot of things. So when I was praying about starting my business again, I was like, well, where do you want my focus to be, Lord? I just don't know. And so He took me down this path to find what it is that He has for me. And that's where Authentic Voice Leadership comes from. That's where the vocal leadership program comes from. So that's what we've been building over here. Now, in the last little bit, it's just gotten very intense. And to be raw and authentic with you, financially, it's just gotten really hard. Finding jobs has been hard. I didn't necessarily want to give up teaching full time. I just wanted to run my business and teach for a while until my business takes off. So as I have been working on my analog newsletter that goes out monthly, and it's a paid subscription, and we have a coaching group that goes along with that analog newsletter. As I've been building in that arena, that's where my focus is really starting to go to my clients in that arena. It's been very exciting, y'all. I'm going to cut to the chase. I think I decided to do a podcast on this topic because we have big news, and it's hard to give the big news to everybody individually. And so I just made the statement, I'm going to do a podcast on it. That way you get to see what miracles God is doing in our life right here, right now, in this season, as we're currently walking through it, because it's been intense. Yeah. Just a really beautiful and a really hard several years. And in this year of business building, there's not been a lot of income in it yet. It takes 3 to 5 years to really produce profit in your business. And so if you have no other source, it gets really stressful on your business. And so as we were looking for alternative work, in the meantime, we've been floating, but I have not been able to even get interviews for another teaching job. And I didn't transition out of teaching. Like I've transitioned out of teaching several times, but this last time it was really, I felt like it wasn't my choice. And to make a long story short on that, there's stuff that goes into that. And it was not a negative experience. It was a really good experience. I had a really great administration. I had a really great experience at the school that I was at, but the Lord only saw for it to end in 2025. So a few weeks ago, my husband and I were like, well, we need to look at what is realistic. We need to look at what is worst case scenarios here, because finding work has been very hard. And there has been a lot of conversation about what to do. So 2 weeks ago, the Lord placed, or a few weeks ago, I guess about a month ago, the Lord really placed on my heart, what is the worst case scenario here? And so I just sat with him and I was like, worst case scenario is, I guess we have to sell our house and maybe move back to Mississippi by my parents for a little while, get back on our feet and transition there. Maybe that's kind of, and the worst case scenario is not that bad, because it could be a lot worse than that. We could lose our house. And I don't feel like the Lord had it for us to lose our house, but we might have to sell it. So I brought it to my husband and I said, the Lord has been talking to me about worst case scenario. He said, I don't want to talk about worst case scenario. He's like, we're not going to lose our house. And I was like, well, that's not really what I was going to say is worst case scenario. So I told him a little bit about what I talked to the Lord about. And we kept this between us. I think I maybe confided in one friend about this particular thing and talked through it with her. And then I just kept it. And because I was like, Lord, if this is what you want us to do, if you want us to sell our house and move, you are going to have to be the one to talk to my husband because he doesn't want to move again. So spoiler alert, we've moved. And the Lord spoke to him. And I told the Lord, I'll know it's you when you talk to him, because I don't want it to be in my strength. I want it to be in yours. And in the last 3 months, I have come to the end of myself. And I'm still learning how to be anchored in wilderness seasons. And especially when I was writing the book, Anchored in the Wilderness, I was like, Lord, I've been through this. I'm writing the book. why am I going through it again? He said, glory to glory, Leslie. You have to learn a deeper level of surrender than you've ever learned. So I was like, well, you've got to help me because I've never had anxiety like this. And I don't want anxiety. I want you, God. And he really taught me how to release all of this to him and just lay it at his feet. And, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. And it's in your hands, Lord. So I just had to really keep myself in the moment. And I had to keep looking at what's going on right here, right now. And my husband would remind me, what is right now? Don't talk about tomorrow. Let's not look at tomorrow. Let's look at what is right now and let's do the steps that are in front of us today. And 2 weeks ago, I've said that a couple times, but this is where it changed. It's like 2 weeks ago, I said, what if we did move? What if the Lord has work for us somewhere else? And the reason every string is being cut in this season of our life to everything that we're tethered to, even the ministry that we're involved in, the Lord is having us take steps back, and he released us from several responsibilities, and I just felt kind of lost about it. He told me to step down from the worship team, and I was like, okay. That was very hard to do. But I knew that he had something else. And so in this surrender, I had surrendered hope as well. And the Lord said, I need to resurrect the hope in you. So when I asked Chris, what if we do move? What if we moved to Mississippi, or what if we moved to the Nashville area in Tennessee? Because I have a lot of business contacts there and we've done a lot of songwriting there and we have community there as well as where we are. And he was like, huh, maybe. So I was like, okay. So I started looking for teaching jobs in both Tennessee and Mississippi. And as I started looking, there was several jobs available in the Nashville area of Tennessee. And in Mississippi, there was a couple. So I was like, this is interesting. Put my computer away. I decided to take my kids and go to Mississippi and just be with my family for the summer, let my husband try to find work, do whatever he needed to do. And I needed the support with my kids so that I could work. And if you are a stay-at-home mom or dad and you work from home and you have little ones at home, you know what I mean. You've got to have some support to be able to actually make this happen without losing your mind. And I didn't want to lose my mind this summer. And I wanted my husband to have the ability to go work in addition to what I was doing from home, which at this point we hadn't really had that much support with our kids. So it was an either or situation. So we had to work around each other's schedules. Because of this, he goes, well, while you're in Mississippi, do you want me to get the house ready to sell? And I was like, yes. Best case scenario, you make it awesome for us to live in. And if not, then we can sell it. Ding. So we were like, okay, well, I was like, well, then should I apply for those jobs? And he said, let's see what God opens. If he's leading you to apply for those positions, then just go ahead and do it and we'll see what opens up. So I get to Mississippi, and the first day that I'm there, I just sat down. I just started applying to every job I qualified for in the greater Nashville area. And I applied to everything I qualified for in Mississippi, which was not a lot of things, but I ended up applying for like 15 teaching jobs in one day. Next day, in the midst of my work day, I had a few emails come through, and by the end of the day, I had 5 interviews set up for teaching jobs, and 4 of them in Tennessee, 1 in Mississippi. And in the midst of it, I had a business breakthrough day scheduled in Franklin, Tennessee. And the day before that, I set up 2 interviews for 2 different schools the day before that, and then in one interview the day after that. And so here's what it looked like. Monday, set up interviews. Tuesday, prepare to leave. Wednesday, 9 a.m., job interview. Wednesday, noon, job interview. Thursday, breakthrough day, all day business. In the midst of it, I'm getting 2 job offers. Friday, job interview, which I canceled because I accepted a job offer. That is the big news. Big news right here. I accepted a job in the Nashville area of Tennessee, and we have already started moving to Tennessee. So, no longer in Branson, Missouri. Now we are to this place where we have community and hopes and dreams like come alive here. I'm so excited to come here and be a part of what God is doing in this region instead of traveling here to do our best to be a part of what God is doing in this region, but actually Him calling us and planting us here is beyond my wildest dreams. I just kept getting wave after wave from the Holy Spirit as I was flashlight driving. This has been a step by step by step. I don't even know what's next. In the midst of the weekend that I was here, accepted the job for teaching at one of the high schools here. And I also found an apartment for us here. And in the midst of that, instead of selling our house, we're going to be renting it to someone that we trust and really treasure, and they are going to take care of our house. And we have started making this transition quickly because school starts in July. At the end of July. Well, school starts the beginning of August. I go back at the end of July. So this is our big news, and I wanted to share it with you because it has been on our heart to move to the Nashville area, and I couldn't see how to do it. And I didn't know. This was a conversation with Chris and I back when we were leading worship for a church in Missouri in 2023. 22 and 23, when we were actively releasing music and we were actively coming to Nashville for songwriting and for retreats and for community. And we laid that down and we talked about it, but we didn't see how we could really make that transition at that time. So a lot has happened since then. And there's been a lot of ups and downs since then. And now He has just picked us up. And in the matter of 2 weeks, we went from talking about it to here. And it's like when God decides it's time, it's His timing, everything else just washes away. It just is like a flood coming through, taking you where you're supposed to be. And what I liken it to a little bit, it's like I feel like I've been at a water park where I'm climbing these stairs, climbing, and I get to the top. It's been so hard. And when you climb those really, really high stairs, the atmospheric pressure just starts weighing on you, and it's scary and it's adrenaline. And sometimes, like, I have been known to go back down and not slide. I don't love heights. I don't like them at all. And so I feel like I was climbing those stairs, and the atmospheric pressure was just weighing on me so heavily, and I couldn't see the top. And then I got to the top, and it just was like, this is the decision to make. Are we going to say yes to whatever the Lord is calling us to, despite what we think and what looks like logic? Or are we going to just let Him guide us? And so it feels like I just sat down, and then the water just gushes and I'm out of control. I've just got my hands up. I'm woo coaster, just going with the flow and literally just wherever the Lord takes me. And so now we are here, and I don't know what is next as far as all of our things that are lining up, except that I'm starting my new teaching job at the end of July, and I'm scaling back business to just Authentic Voice Leadership podcast and to my analog newsletter, the Leslie Davis letter. that is attached to also a monthly coaching call and community that we're actively building. So this podcast is actually news to everyone. I did not talk about this in my newsletter yet. Anyway, here we are in the new apartment. This is our future studio office room, and my husband promised I would still get to have the guitars on the wall because this is a studio. He is production dude. So I'm hoping to have the real studio up and running in the next few weeks. But for now, you're probably going to get me in a somewhat empty room. So I would love, love, love for you to join me in the Leslie Davis Letter community and over in the Radiant Leader community with Authentic Voice Leadership. I would love for you to be there. Let's talk about staying grounded in these wilderness seasons and these flashlight seasons. And when God opens the door and the flood comes in, staying grounded in that, because that's what I'm in right now, staying grounded, learning how to stay, doing my best to stay grounded in the midst of everything moving so fast. And it's been a whirlwind, guys. I have cried. I have laughed. I've laid out in the spirit. I have asked God, what in the world are you doing? And then I say, thank you, Lord, for doing it. I hope I hear you right, but it's just been clear, his hand in all of this. And those of you who know us very well know how he's been moving in our life lately. And you know, like the questions even we've had in the last few years and the places of darkness that we've been in and had to go deep, deep, deep to find the water. But when you dig the well deep to find the water, it stays with you and it goes with you wherever you go. So when you are no longer having to dig for a season, you get to drink from the water from the deep well that was created in those dark seasons. And so I am banking on that. I am banking on drinking from the water, from the deep well that God has been pressing into me and to my family. And it's been absolutely beautiful. And I can't wait to update you again. So thanks for listening to my story. This has been a raw and vulnerable time to just tell you what's going on. And obviously, not every podcast is like this, but I needed a moment to be real with you. And last week, I did not release an individual podcast. I only released my guest expert podcast. And that was because I was in the middle of moving. And I said, there's grace here. So I took the last Thursday and just let it ride. And then this Thursday, you get the story behind it. And I probably will be releasing less individual podcasts on Thursdays, but you can expect to hear from some amazing experts with great conversations because I've had some amazing conversations with these guest experts that will help you grow in your leadership, that will help you grow in your personal skills and emotional intelligence, your communication, even your finances, and so many other things that I have been so privileged to learn from other people too in our business realm. So this is time to step up, step out, take the flashlight that God is offering to you and take one obedient step at a time, and you will find yourself in a floodlight of the Lord's glory. Glory to glory, guys. Glory to glory. And with each level of glory comes more depth, comes more learning, comes more healing. We're never done. And the goal of this life, of being in this earth suit and earthbound in this realm, is to know God, know his nature, and be known by him so deeply in such a relationship that we take that with us when we go. All the other things don't matter. This is what we take with us. Our relationship, what we've learned of God's nature, we take back with us. Because there's no tears in heaven. And we don't know pain in heaven. And we come to this earth to know God through pain, to know his nature as comforter, as provider. All the ways that he shows up for us, we get to learn that in this earth experience. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of learning every aspect of his nature that he wants to show you, because there's so much and it's so worth it. And he is worthy of it. And so are you. If you're in my community, pop in there at the authenticvoiceleadership.com, pop in there and say, I heard the podcast and I'm going to come see you in Nashville. I would love that so much. So pop into the community and say hello and let me know about what you've learned about God's nature in your wilderness seasons. And if you haven't grabbed a copy of the book, you've got to do that. And if you want a trial of the Leslie Davis letter, check the links. You've got the opportunity to try it out for just the cost of printing and shipping. So that's it.
Hey, Radiant Leader, to dive deeper into our resources and connect with a powerhouse circle of like-minded leaders, come join our free community right now over at authenticvoiceleadership.com. I will meet you right back here next Tuesday. Your voice matters. Lead wild, lead free. Stay radiant, my friend.